It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult.
It was pretty fucked up, you know, that I just got this letter in the mail that supposedly this woman was my mom and she's dead. I could have been a clone for all that I know. The fact that I can't even remember but a couple of memories of my mom, well, they cloned me all right. Through abuse, they mentally, spiritually, and metaphysically cloned my DNA with trauma. If you think about it, I guess we're all clones of our cult, of our culture. I've been hearing that people that have been coming out and talking about their stories have been getting banned. Here's the thing though, YouTube, you better not ban this video. Why? Because if you ban this video, you're gonna take away my whole entire fitness channel. First off, this is the only video that I'm gonna be doing talking about these child traffickings, because I know you guys are banning people. Number two, if you ban me, I promise I'll go to 1,000 churches. I'll stand on the podium and I'll make sure they're big churches with no less than 500 people per church. And I will tell the entire story to them. And then I'll go to YouTube and I'll tell 1,000 YouTubers what happened and get on 10 of the YouTubers' channels that have over 1 million subscribers. So don't censor me. So this video did take me 3 days to complete. Each and every one of my videos does take about 6 to 12 hours to edit. So please like this, share this, subscribe to the channel. And this is a direct message for you. For all the victims and for all the parents watching that had their kids trafficked through the CPS system, you better go out and you better get your story out there and deliver on the same thing if they do ban you.
All my life they let me know how far I would not go, but inside the beast still grows, waiting, chewing through the ropes. Who are you to change this world? Set it forward. Nothing's in your way. So let it go. Carnivore, carnivore, won't you come by just now? Take away everything I am. Bring it to an end. Carnivore, carnivore.
know. Well, keep up the good work.
Yes.
We need to save the kids from their deathbed, even if they murder us. Hopefully this is my last video ever having to talk about it, but when they're threatening to blow up my car, I'm getting multiple death threats. If I don't even know if I'm gonna live or die, yeah, what do? Forced into a position to do something, to tell the whole fucking world what the fuck happened. Because life, you realize you're dead and you look back and you're like, wow, I could have done something for those kids. They already said they were gonna murder me. They already said they were gonna blow up my car. Fuck. They left me no fucking choice.
We must save the kids from their deathbed, even if they kill us. My brothers.
1,000 strikes for my life. The more people that know that they're trying to murk my ass, the better. And death threats to victims of legalized child trafficking. Hey, for everybody watching this, thank you so much for subscribing to this channel, caring to hit that bell notification, see if I survive, see if I don't get murdered. It's very real what's happening with these kids. There's a lot of groups on Facebook you guys can join against child trafficking. There's even groups against trafficking through CPS. That one's a little bit more controversial because it makes the government look really, really, really bad and corrupt. And if people lose faith in their government, well, we descend into chaos. So it's pretty sad when governments do things like this because they just ruin it for civilization. Thank you so much for subscribing to Spiritual Fitness Evolution. To anybody out there that is paying people to come threaten and kill me, please have some mercy on my soul. I mean, for heaven's sake, I got butt fucked by juvenile delinquents and male staff and beaten, thrown downstairs, drugged on over 20 pharmaceutical drugs. I think I've had enough hell in my life, okay? And the dude that threatened to blow up my vehicle. Yeah, peace and love to you, dude, because seriously, man, I'm gonna have to go around with a hidden camera everywhere that I go. I want to put this all behind me, all of this chaos and the stuff that's been happening, and I hope you guys go after some higher target individuals. There's so many people out there. I mean, you already killed that judge. What was her name? Nancy Schaefer. You already murdered her ass. So I guess you guys really don't like people talking about the child trafficking. But you can't kill every motherfucking kid that you child trafficked and threaten to kill their ass. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Stay tuned. We'll be doing that 1,000 strike challenge.
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.
It doesn't matter where you are in life. If you don't feel blessed, you won't be blessed. You gotta know your worth before you can be worth anything.
All the days when not a thing went right. All the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I can't fight. When failure tried to take my mind, I wouldn't let failure take my life. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'll never give up, I'm blessed because I can't fight. Broken in pain, lonely, battered and bruised, always the same day. Nothing new or unusual, seems like nothing changed. It's always the same rules. No matter how bad it gets, I refuse to lose. No matter how bad it gets, I'll keep on moving. No matter how bad it gets, I can still choose to keep fighting up, to keep trying up, to keep grinding up, keep rising up. I just got to that point where enough was enough. I can't keep complaining, sitting and waiting for luck. I have to stop asking why me and start looking inside. Push through the pain and tell my story on the other side. Had to renew my mind and start fighting. I won't lie, it was frightening, but I survived. That choice got me to where I am today. If you think things always went my way, listen close to what I gotta say. All the days when not a thing went right. All the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I can't fight. When life try to take my mind, I won't let anything take my mind. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'll never give up, I'm blessed because I got. They never got to see all the sleepless nights, all the sacrifices, the choice between heat, me, and they're having lights. All the knockdowns, knockbacks, and failed tries. They don't see the wounds and scars cause they're internalized. They think I'm blessed and think that everything went right. They just see the end results and think I'm alright because I always smile. But they ain't seen the grind. I work so hard that overtime is just normal time. When you lose it all and then still lose again, it builds a different kind of fight inside. It builds a different kind of drive, different kind of fight, different kind of fire, different kind of desire, a different kind of light. But I'm blessed because I've got fight. I wasn't handing nothing. The callus on my hand shows you I ain't bluffing. I'm like the time, you can't stop me for nothing. It's a marathon and I just keep on running. All the days when not a thing went right, all the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I got fight. When life try to take my mind, I'll won't let anything take my mind. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'll never give up, I'm blessed because I got fight.
That's my blessing. Not that I was handed my dreams, but that I had enough fight in me, that I had enough belief in me to go after my dream, that I had the courage to keep going, to push through the pain, to rise through the darkness, and to tell my story on the other side. My story, my blessed story.
All the days when not a thing went right, all the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I got fight.
The infinite power of the universe has been crystallized to create an era of peace and great harmony.
This video is going to be a little bit different, a bit like the last one. As you guys know, I've been getting gang stalked, gaslighted, and people have been threatening to kill me for speaking out about when I was legally child trafficked through CPS. I never wanted to have to come out here and talk about this because really I don't like talking about it. It's uncomfortable, but it's got to be done, because when someone threatens to blow up your vehicle and then you're getting multiple death threats, you have to do something. Before we get started and just kind of getting things off of my chest, we're going to be doing 1,000 strikes with the 17.5 pound sword on the Pell in this beautiful location. So I just got done editing this video. I want to pop this right in here. Before I get started, I'm asking, pleading, please watch this entire video. Give it a view, give it a like, give it a comment, share this video. It's very, 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 very important that other people that have my story, which I really hope that you listen to all the way through, so that you can hear what I'm going through and what happens to victims when they speak out, and what happened to victims in the past. Because here's the thing, it's been out for so long now, 10 years, what happened to Nancy Schaefer. And yeah, us victims, we do get gaslit, gang stalked. Some of us do get death threats. But here's the thing, victims isolate themselves. Victims just tell their story to the people that are abusing them. Yeah, if you speak out against the same system that's abusing you, of course, bad things are gonna happen. But if you tell the entire world your story through any means necessary, you're gonna be okay. And this we must do. This must be the pact. And we all need to start speaking out about what's happening. It's very important. It could be life or death. This has to stop. Families need to stop being ripped apart. For money, you just need to stop ripping children away from their parents. It's absolutely horrible. So yeah, please, please, please watch this whole entire video. Share this with other victims and any victims out there, parents or children. It is permanent that you go to Toastmasters, learn to give speeches, and start giving your speech to 10 people a day, getting this information out there, let people know what's happening. The other day when I did this, I was upset. I was a little bit angry. I was a little bit irate. All this stuff that I'm saying is absolute facts. And there's more that I'm leaving out. But stay safe, everybody. I'm actually wearing a freedom, liberty, independence shirt. I've been left, I've been right, I've been independent. Here's the thing. I do support the police who don't violate people's natural rights, that don't violate and aggress towards others through coercion, and that don't child traffic kids through the CPS system with little to no evidence. Police, if they're gonna be willing to come in and take someone's kids from the home, they should know without a reasonable doubt, those parents, they should at least get to know those parents for 2 to 3 months before they rip those kids out of the home because CPS tells them. So you could imagine, I've had a lot of negative run-ins with the police in my life. First when I was 2, when they came in and kidnapped me. The other time was when I was 10, I ran away from that abusive home that I got placed into, and I got my arm broken. But here's the thing, if everybody hates the police, that's ridiculous, because not all people are bad. And people truly do join the police because they care about citizens and society. To have this negative connotation that all police officers are bad is not going to make for a safe society. It's actually going to call for the opposite, because if you defund all the police, you just have people going around taking care of things themselves. And it is to be argued that the community should, in fact, do their own policing, because if you're taking care of your community and you're policing your own community. And I also witnessed a bunch of horrible things also from the police from the hometown that I went to and involved in the child trafficking. You hear all these stories with Nancy Schaefer, all these different connections. I am very also at the same time terrified of police. But yet I still sold 5,000 blue line flags to back the blue. And I always treat police officers with respect, because they die every day from real criminals who have lost it, that are violent criminals. So that's my stance on the police. I really wanted to verify that. I'm definitely not anti-police. I'm just anti-corruption in the police force. I would have to agree now 100%. You're gonna hear the videos later on that there absolutely is corruption in these institutions. I feel this deep in my gut, and it's come to the point in my life where I'm terrified. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to live. This is horrible, but here's the thing. We are not victims. What we need to do now more than ever is reach out and talk to 100 people a day about our story. Once a week, be networking all over the internet, and be careful, because there's a lot of people that are in the trafficking rings, that are on these Facebook groups. I really do believe, I've just gotten that gut feeling while talking to people, because I'm just adding hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to try to share my story with them. And everybody that watching this should be doing the exact same thing. They shouldn't have any fear, because here's the thing. Yeah, they might send death threats out to you, but here's the thing. If you're telling 100 people a day of what's happening, if you're getting these books right here on how to raise crowdfunding money, and you share that with your local community, and you build a local community that you feel safe around and has your back. And there's snakes everywhere, there's posers everywhere, that will act like they're the good guys. This is just common knowledge. This is how corrupt power stays in power. They deceive. It's really, really sad that this is the truth. And I really, really hope that everybody watching this video shares this with at least 10 people, post this to different groups. And we all know that we're being censored on Facebook. I'm sure many of you guys have experienced countless accounts of gaslighting and gang stalking. There's an organization called the NRA, which helps you with security on your device, all this stuff, counter spying, intelligence stuff. I mean, Edward Snowden came out about this stuff, probably because they were using this technology to coerce people and manipulate them. And I honestly do not trust the internet anymore. if you start doing some research. But here's the thing. There are so many victims every single year that are put into these systems. There's so many people that can talk out about this. We're just fine. We are just fine. I mean, after they killed Nancy Schaefer, that stirred so much. And now so many people have heard about the corruption in CPS. It's now our duty to save these children, you know, save ourselves from the abuse that we have, you know, just living with the fact that there's other people going through what we went through. So yeah, the other day when I was doing this video, I was really, you know, smug. I was struggling spiritually, but I'm just gonna go ahead and keep my editing the same. This channel is Spiritual Fitness Evolution. It's supposed to be about coming through and grounding through the heart, brain coherence. But when people are threatening to kill me, it makes it very difficult, and we're all human. Here's the thing, never react, always respond. You're in control, and build those massive communities. Go and become a public speaker. You have no excuse. Go to Toastmasters Association. Start doing speeches at TED Talk. All right, everybody, share this video with at least 10 people. And please watch it from the beginning to the end. Please drop a comment. Please thumb up the video. Please share this. And subscribe to my channel. This channel is about full body functional fitness, becoming the best versions of yourselves. I put a lot of stuff in there from people and a lot of knowledge that can help you through your life. And if you're somebody that struggles from any type of addiction, subscribe to this channel, because nobody should be taking any drugs. You have no reason to even be drinking alcohol, no reason to be smoking cigarettes. You have to stay sober, because sober-minded, breathing, pranayama, qigong, you know, community, unity, alliance, massive cooperation. We're gonna find the solution through our soul by getting out locally in the community, doing these crowdfunding things, connecting and figuring out other people in the community that care, that are connected to crowdfunding, and not waiting for someone to put it in our lap, but going and researching and figuring this out and going to these meetup groups. And in that way, you're protecting yourself from the injustice that's been done to you. You're refusing to be a victim, because these people that gang stalk you, they study you. They want to make sure that you're isolated. And it's always the isolated women that are getting these kids trafficked from them, because they can't afford the process, and all the judges suck, because they really would rather just take that mass amount of money that they make on each kid. And for those of you that haven't looked into this, haven't been through this, look into this, because if this is happening in your country, in your community, do you really feel safe that they're doing this to innocent people? So really, please listen to my video, listen to what happened to me, because this is what is happening to these kids when they're in CPS and these private institutions. It was absolutely hell for me, you know? All right, everybody, I'm gonna get on with the show. Just wanted to chirp in. Please watch this to the very end and share this video. And there is no excuse if you were a victim. Go out, make a video about this. And if you have the power to connect with people in your community, that's what you have to do. Everybody here needs to understand networking with people with large amounts of people that are in their influence circle on social media, speaking, churches, etc. This is how you will not be a victim. Oh yeah, and any police officers that are getting a chance to watch this, that are good police officers that have an open heart, that truly care about community and care about stopping all these injustices, listen to this whole entire video. And at the end, I have a special present for you. I put this together, this little thing. I sold over 5,000 blue line flags. At one point, I was completely conservative. I thought that defunding the police was absolutely insane. At one point, I was a complete libertarian that believed that police should never get involved in your life at all. So I've been all over the board. But here's the thing, police go through a ton. And yes, it's true, narcissists join all types of industries, especially when they can have power over each other. But that's not everybody. And here's the thing, people, if you want your community to be safe, You need to make sure that these covert narcissists stop joining the police force and all these other institutions. If you don't do anything about it as a community, you're gonna fall victim. You're gonna be their prey. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I've considered joining the police in my life because it would be amazing to be able to help out the community. For a very long time, that was never a thought. But as I matured and I understood, that just because one situation happens through an aspect of the corruption doesn't mean that it's the overlying aspect of all of existence, of truth. Well, not one time. We all know that this has happened to millions of kids. There are good police out there. And really what it is, if you actually think about it, is it's certain cities and counties where police forces get corrupt. It's certain states. And there has to be a balance. And I really do believe in police reform. Should we be getting tanks? I mean, I have seen the rise of domestic terrorism in the rap industry. That should be scaring the fuck out of everybody. They're literally in their neighborhoods holding up AK-47s. This is what fucks up our freedom. This is why these school shootings are happening. The problem with our whole entire society is a problem based around morality and the input of our subconsciousness through mass media and the breakdown of the morals of society and civilization. That is why chaos is ensuing. The thing is, we need to demand the good police, and that's only going to come through localized communities demanding. And how you're going to demand that? You're going to have the local people in your communities join the force. I've considered it. They're like a brotherhood. That's pretty cool. It's absolutely scary as fuck when they are covert narcissists and willing to traffic kids. It's disgusting. It's absolutely fucking disgusting. There's a reason why the police were defunded, because of abuses, and people got sick of it. And it really, really fucking sucks for all the good people out there that are actually upholding justice. Think about things from the top down, kind of a bird's eye view, and understand different dynamics, because if you're only looking through the eyes of your own perception, you're never going to understand the issues of the world. But yeah, I need to get this stuff off my chest because it's starting to drive me insane. And gang stalking, if you research it, there's over 10 different documentaries on gang stalking. I really hope it's not true, but it may be related to certain institutions, letter companies. I've been banned now from Facebook, or blocked out of Facebook, over 12 times. I was trafficked from my mom through CPS and put through highly abusive home that was treating me like Harry Potter as a kid, mentally, physically, verbally abused. I actually don't remember much at all of my childhood before age 10 because I was on over 15 different pharmaceutical drugs through the US companies. I guess I was a child protective services, China. I was a pharmaceutical lab rat that I may have been a part of MK Ultra for all that I know. The family that I was a part of, their names are Stuart Rouse. He's a military man. I just couldn't believe that I would be treated that way. And then when the lawsuits came out and I wanted help, they wouldn't even help me to get the lawsuits. Like, for parents that care so much about money and talked about how I cost them so much money as a kid after they adopted me from my mom that is now dead before I could ever meet her. It's pretty sickening, to know that they wouldn't even help me out when they could have helped me get upwards of $250,000. I even told them that I would split it with them. That's very weird that they would not go forward with that. Also, I had conversations and wanting to send pictures to that adoptive father, and he said, I can't look into that stuff. I'm in the military. So it almost makes me think he was a part of that. Every time that I call him and talk to him, it sounds like his phone is being tapped. I don't know if the government is really afraid of this story getting out. He is a high-ranking military officer for the Navy Seabees and now the Air Force. And I hate to talk crap about this, but I have to come out full because of people threatening to blow up my vehicle. About a month ago, I was gang stalked online. I need to look dead into the fucking camera, no fucking fear. About a week or two ago, I was looking for a new home, all-wheel drive express. I was a little weary about going and checking these out because they were very, very underpriced for what the market value was. I got gang stalked by 10 cars that all had veteran plates on them, with cars driving very fast through mountain terrain on my way back to California. I thought that my life was in danger, so I accelerated to 90 to 110 miles an hour. I strategically drove around them. Why did I get banned from Facebook? I'm not exactly sure why I got banned from Facebook. I believe it's because I had contacted over 100 people, families and children that are now adults that were victims of the CPS. Also online, I had death threats that be careful, people like you. A lot of you guys won't stay alive if you keep talking about this. Direct death threats through there. Yeah, people have been following me. I just get random death threats and people come up to me. And it's really weird. One time, I had a guy come up, talk to me about a bunch of conspiracy stuff that was on TikTok, and then hold up a red sign, and he said, "Oh, that's to show that you're good." So it's been pretty fucked up. So how the gang stalking works is it's a psychological warfare. What they try to do is they try to get you in your fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, you're releasing high amounts of cortisol, which then puts your body in a catabolic state, makes you fearful. So for me, I've just accepted the fact that I could die any moment. Just decided to enjoy life in its present moment, because we have out here today, we got this beautiful waterfall, we got the beautiful trees. Other people that are talking out about CPS, there was the lady in Georgia that ended up dying because she was talking out against CPS, and this was my story. I'm just gonna go on here. I really didn't want to bring this to my YouTube channel because my YouTube channel was supposed to be solely about spiritual fitness evolution, working out with giant swords, and I don't really want to get censored on this platform. So I'm really hoping that YouTube won't censor this, and I'm hoping that this will be that last video that I'll ever have to make about people threatening to blow up my car, threatening to kill me, sending goons with pistols in their laps to threaten my life. I'm getting pretty fucking sick and tired of it. It's just pissing me the fuck off because I would just like to enjoy my life and relax. And honestly, spiritual fitness evolution, I may be going to the Amish community because just the way things are, I'd rather just ditch my phone. I told the police that someone had threatened to blow up my car, and they said, "Well, do you have proof?" They didn't even want to do a report. I would think that the police would have a better measure for domestic terrorism of blowing up someone's car with explosives. And I'm not against the police because I actually helped sell, and I hope I did the right thing. But I sold over 5,000 blue line flags back in 2021 because I thought that defunding the police would not be a good thing because it would cause a lot of anarchy and chaos and more corruption, even though I am aware through many of the things that I have shared through TikTok, probably is a lot of corruption in the police. Documentaries after documentaries. And that's one of the reasons why I might just go join the Amish community, because I feel as if there are people that are trying to use me to kind of expose the corruption, because I always, even if I start a new YouTube account or a new TikTok, I always get fed these conspiracy things. And I think because I have a lot of trauma in my life, I can't help but to keep looking at these things. I've been doing a lot of research on psychology, that children that go through many traumatic experiences, the fact that I'm constantly being put through traumatic experiences, people threatening to blow up my vehicle, I kind of feel like I have to watch these things to kind of maybe I'll survive if I know this or that. So it's an endless cycle of insanity. So this is the message to the people out there that are threatening to kill me. I was child trafficked. I was put into these institutions that maybe you're a part of, but I was raped, I was drugged, I was mentally and physically abused. I was locked into rooms where I had to piss and shit in the corners when I was defending myself against other violent juveniles. And it was all because I ran away from a home that was abusing me mentally. From what I remember, it could have been sexually. Wouldn't surprise me if my adoptive family had sexually abused me. And then also another thing about that family the Rouse family. So they got 4 kids. They were receiving $600 a month in social welfare to have us. They disowned the last sister that got adopted, that finally they got one of the kids taken away from them. They got Samantha Rouse, who used to go by, I think, Nina. She got taken from the house because apparently there was bruises on her. These people did not really show a lot of love. I don't remember a lot of love. Only on Christmas I remember coming for home visits, and you know, it was like, oh, you have to dress up, you have to make the family picture look nice. It was almost just to kind of create this pose or this idea that it was a happy family, in my opinion, which it was not a happy family. I remember that the woman, Jane Rouse, when I came on the home visits, one of the kids would always be getting abused, and then she'd use the other kids to get all the other kids to abuse the other kid mentally, and literally have them eat table scraps, bologna sandwiches, and oh no, you don't get, and just bawling. These kids would be bawling and crying, and they would just get mentally abused for it. It was pretty fucked up. I graduated a couple of those programs, these institutions. I'm just gonna go off. Supposedly one got shut down, which was Rabner's Boys Ranch, where a lot of the rape happened. I actually did get my rectum stuffed with a phallus in those institutions. I had to perform oral sex on male staff in that institution. I remember getting my cock, my phallus touched. So all while being under heavy tranquilizers, Adderall, Thorazine, Seroquel, lithium, Paxil, Risperidol. There's a long list. One time I even lost 16 pounds in a week. And so I believe this is why they want to kill me, because the pharmaceutical industry is a multi-billion dollar industry. They would much rather probably just put a hit on my head and shut my fucking ass up and hope that this video never gets out, which this video would have never had to have fucking gotten out if I wouldn't have had someone threaten to blow up my car. So I hope this is the very last video, and hopefully this won't go too viral where they won't immediately, because they've been tracking me on my cell phone. They've been gang stalking me online. Matter of fact, I went to buy a vehicle from somebody who I believed was an agent of some sort. I guess I had been sharing posts. A lot of these gang stalking things say that certain institutions, certain alphabet letter companies are possibly corrupted. So I don't actually know the truth. And I hope it's all actually not these institutions. I hope we can all hope that as well, living here in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. Because honestly, I don't want to fucking die. I don't want to be killed and having my vehicle blown up. That's the facts. I'm very, very, very disappointed that the Rouse family never helped me to receive compensation against these companies that had multiple lawsuits come out against them. And I'm very upset at those institutions, Orchard Place, Quakerdale, Rabner's Boys Ranch, Four Oaks, for shredding my documents, and to the psychologist, Dr. Dudney, for talking shit about me and talking down like I'm some pathetic piece of shit in his notes. Also, it's to be noted that Dr. Dudney, there was a kid that was prescribed some drugs. Obviously, some of these drugs, when you come off of them, people end up going crazy because they have no serotonin and dopamine in their system. So this kid ended up, after they took him off some pills, he shot his mom and then tried to rape her. He was a 10-year-old kid. And there's tons and 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 tons of videos on the internet of people talking out about the negative side effects of giving these kids drugs and what can happen to your kids if you, a parent, are on these drugs. So if this is the final thread and I get my car blown up for this, or they try to set me up. Also, I'd like to state that I got pulled over one time by an unmarked car, and the guy said, "You're playing with the big boys now." This was, I think, I can't really remember, but it was after I was watching a conspiracy about slaughter bots. Recently, Elon Musk just proved through the internet that they can create these bots to track you. They're very small bots with 3 grams of shaped explosives. That was one of the videos that were being fed to me through the algorithm, and I was talking about it anyway. I believe that it's possible that the police are corrupt. I'd also like to tell everybody on here, I don't use drugs, I don't use alcohol, I don't even smoke cigarettes. How would I have been able to work up to a 17-pound sword, 1,000 strikes on a pill, if I was a drug user? No, I get high off life, I get high off of prana, oxygen, and beauty, and love, and happiness, and joy, and wishing the best for my enemies. That's really how I get high. I get high visualizing that people that are out to hurt people can actually come through their heart and heal, because they're never really going to activate their full 144,000 nadis that are in their body and live longer. Because if you don't really have a powerful open heart, your blood's not going to pump, and how in the world are your 7 chakras and organ systems going to work? I don't know what these people go through. I think that, everybody has some type of trauma in their life, and I have no judgment. I think that about cuts it. I really wished that that so-called adoptive family, the Rouse family, would have helped me in the time of need to have been able to get that lawsuit. That really fucked me up. Ever since then, I haven't been able to keep a consistent job. And I feel like I may have sold my soul a couple times. I got involved in politics. I think the politics are good. Getting signatures, I think most of them have been good. But yeah, I don't want any beef. I don't want anybody to blow up my car. I would really appreciate it if people would just fuck off and let me live my life. I don't really want to have to go live with the Amish, but if I have to, I will. I really appreciate if people stop gang stalking me. Because the more that people continue to attack their victims, the more that these victims are going to become desperate and just not give a fuck, because you've already threatened to kill them. So why not just fucking spill the whole motherfucking can of beans? I hope we can all forgive each other, but I can tell you this, what happened to me in those institutions was 100% facts. The fact that that adoptive family did not help me out is absolute facts. Every time that I call William Stewart Rouse on the phone, it's fuzzy. It really just seems like they're just trying to get information from me, see how I respond, but they really don't give a fuck about me. So I've been learning about grooming. I've been getting many suggestions to me about how they groom people for abuse, and then those same people can be abused more, which I actually do believe that are true. I'm just letting you know, guardian angels that have been coming up to me, because I've had just people come up to me during my petitioning job and just drop conspiracies on me, and then just talk about things that I had been through, like how did they know that I was through that. So I really hope that you people are watching this, because I don't want to die, and I hope that you guys are in the intelligence community, and that you guys are just waiting and watching that if these corrupt intelligence agencies are in fact doing this, to pin them. I hope that that's not true, and there might just be people trying to deceive me so that they can, all this conspiracy about Russia, all this crap that's going on television. Who fucking knows? Anyway, I'm going to do 1,000 strikes right now. Stay with me, guys. We're going to be doing some positive stuff about life. I really want to put this all behind me. I really want to see that the death threats stop. I do want to tell my story for safety reasons, so that I don't get murdered or killed or have my vehicle blown up. Yeah, and it's pretty fucked up. But anyway, it's time for 1,000 strikes. Let's get it in. And everybody, on a positive note, we're just gonna take a deep breath. If you guys ever get in a situation, if we have people on here that were trafficked, that had their kids trafficked from them, all you gotta do is really ground yourself. Come into the present moment. Regulate your breathing. Realize that, we all die one day. Anyway, life is really short. We have so much to be grateful for. Anytime in our life we can go and connect with anybody. We can create large communities of people that love us. And that's really what we need right now, is we need community. We need strong, large, intellectual, powerful communities that have our backs and are connected, well connected with lawyers, politics, mass media. I'm literally talking about all the things that happen to me while they're trying to kill me. But here's the thing, they can't kill us all, can they? They can't murder every goddamn one of us, can they? So, That's the absolute facts. I don't want to continue this on. I hope someone takes this on and I can retire from this. But I do think I'm going to have to go on and just kind of promote this video. I can tell you for a fact that people have been gang stalking me. I feel like I've been sabotaged through multiple mechanics that I brought in my homes that I was living in. I believe that it's possible that my cell phone can lead me to certain institutions, clubs or organizations that want to sabotage me. Also, I was told one time back in 2020 when I was passing out these flyers, I got a guy that dropped off about 5,000 flyers after he made me feel so guilty for selling these face masks. We were selling face masks because it was the only thing that we could sell, and we had to survive, right? Because if you don't survive, what are you going to do? So you have to sell the face masks. This guy made me feel so guilty. I looked into all these conspiracy theories, so then I felt guilty, and I'm like, well, dude, if I pass these out, no one's going to buy these masks. So I just passed them out after they bought the mask, and then I had people starting to come and kill me back then in 2020, pistols in their lap. I ended up telling them, hey, man, if you want to blow my brains out, go for it, but at least check out this flyer so that you know what's going on, and maybe you won't take the juice. Those then people that I believe were hitmen or assassins came back and asked for those flyers, multiple flyers for themselves. The death threats continued. This was when I was with my ex. I was so afraid for our lives, I literally thought through watching all those things that I thought that the vaccine, and I really don't think this is true anymore because I haven't seen that many people drop dead. Supposedly there was graphene oxide in this vaccine and that 5G and all this stuff, whatever. Those were what were dropped off to me. I was convinced that the military was going to force inject us with the vaccines, so I passed them out because these people came, and I'm like, dude, people are threatening me. It was like, dude, have they killed you yet? They're flying helicopters over Sacramento. Don't you think if they wanted to kill you in broad daylight, they would have already fucking done it? No fucking lie. And then I ended up getting in with the conservative side of things, which I guess they're being attacked right now. And I sold conservative flags because I thought that those were the people that were against the vaccine that I believe was corrupt. At the end of the day, I really don't fucking know the truth because I'm not a fucking scientist. But I can tell you this, recently I almost guarantee that the reason that they're trying to murk my ass is because talking out against and saying it like I was drugged on over 15 pharmaceutical drugs from the pharmaceutical cartel, but I'm very angry, and I'm going to release that anger. Anyway, let's get back to this meditation exercise. Deep breath in, center it down through the feet. I'm grounded. Right now in this present moment, from second to second, I am safe. I'm worried about death and dying. I'm not going to be able to enjoy my life. They're going to be able to wear me down through the cortisol effect, through the gang stalking, or the paranoia of the PTSD from the gang stalking. So it's no big deal. I'm a warrior, magician, lover. I am manifesting beautiful, loving people into my life. I'm very grounded. I'm going to pray for my enemies that they can connect to this beautiful, unconditional love that I have and realize that all this booty that they're trying to get, all this loot and booty, it comes with a karmic price of energy, of shutting your own energy centers down. This is what quantum science, Bruce Lipton, The Secret have all shown, and I have to agree. It's the same thing through like gang stalking. I mean, they are ballsy. They might be adrenaline junkies through doing this kind of thing, this kind of psychopath, sociopathic individuals that like to prey upon. At the end of the day, humans are apex predators, so I guess it's only reality that certain humans would be apex predators over other humans. So this is just reality, and we need to deal with it. We need to be grounded, but what can we really do? Well, if they're threatening to kill you and blow up your car, you can really just pray for them and try to put out good positive energy. And then also you can imagine that whatever they're going through, the fear that they're going to gets removed from them, because they're probably going through a lot of fear. For someone to kill you, they must be going through some type of fear, some type of discomfort, something that's making them not feel well. And some people are like, how can you be so loving towards these people? Why don't we hunt them down? Well, you know what? I don't want to hunt people down and hurt them. Maybe I'm an optimist, but at the end of the day, you got to be optimistic when people are threatening to kill you. So let's get into it. We're gonna do 1,000 strikes against gang stalking, anybody that's been gang stalked, trafficked as a kid, forced into prostitution, used only for their body. I believe that the reason of me being raped as a kid may have been one of the reasons why I became a stripper at one point and was sexualized and all this and that. And I believe the body is sacred, and you should only connect to people that have good energy. Otherwise, you're gonna get spiritual residue rubbing off on your energetic vortex. A lot of us that have been through trauma, we're so used to being addicted to trauma, and we need to learn to get out of it. I'm alive. I could have easily been shot in the head, sniped in the past, had my car blown up, set up by the cops that are corrupt if they fact are, which it's possible, because when you tell the police that the vehicle and they don't do shit, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Anyhow, I'm still back in the blue. I still believe that there's good people out there that care, that are in positions and authorities, and I hope people realize the cause and effects for just treating people like shit. I believe that's how empires crumble, is when enough people get treated like shit, and then they pretty much just feel like, what's my life even worth living for? I might as well tell the truth. I mean, they've already threatened to kill me. I might as well just ride or die until my brains get blown out. I kind of feel like that's what happens, and then everything that they've built, the greed comes short, and then they lose it all. That's just my opinion, through cause and effect, looking at history patterns. Anyway, one more deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. I feel a loving heart in every single soul on the entire planet. I'm seeing it visualized. I'm seeing that you could call it demonic entities or lower states of being, or just people being assholes. You can see them connecting to this higher realm of complete joy and ecstasy and unconditional love for everybody, and then them seeing that they can actually acquire the same amount of wealth by doing it that way, and then never have any retaliation towards them, because people would actually worship them for a reason to be worshipped. And I think that if you could help people, I don't see why they wouldn't worship you. So anyway, let's get to it. 1,000 strikes. Yeah. Whoa. Let's get it, spiritual fitness evolution. No matter what you've been through life, you can ground in the present moment. Be thankful for the sun, the sky, the night sky, the beautiful trees, the little things like this, the waterfalls. Get back out there into nature and enjoy your life to the fullest. Don't let your heart be destroyed by fear, and don't let your soul be consumed by becoming like those that want anything but the best for you. And send them thoughts of the best. We all deserve to understand what it's like to have unconditional love for everybody. Some people really get far and astray, and they get addicted with power or whatever. I don't fucking know. But I hope this is the last video I ever have to fucking make on my YouTube channel about this. Now we're gonna get back to what this channel is all about. Mind, body, spirit, full body functional training, being strong, and we are going to set a Guinness World Records, filling this sword to 45 pounds, 1,000 strikes, and the other Guinness World Records is 20 pounds in the sword, a 60-pound weighted vest, 2 10-pound ankle weights on each ankle, 2 2.5-pound wrist weights on each wrist, pulling behind a 100-pound football sled. Let's get it, spiritual fitness evolution. We are all the same. Much love.
Afraid, are you?
No, sir.
See through you. We can.
Be mindful of your feelings.
Your thoughts dwell on your mother.
I miss her.
Afraid to lose her, I think.
What has that got to do with anything?
Everything. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Always with you what cannot be done. Hear you nothing that I say. You must unlearn what you have learned.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
The revolution won't be televised. Government been telling lies. If you're not with us, you better step aside. Witnessing a genocide, everything is centralized. The food that we consume and they spraying it out with pesticides. Easily identify the sheep and the snake, the real and the fake, giving us a reason to pray. I'ma make my own choices, a voice for the voiceless. They trying to destroy us, avoiding the poison. It's all pointless if you don't have a purpose. If you read the verses, you'll know who we versing. Government can tell you what your worth is, look deeper than the surface. They don't even want you researching or asking questions. We all being tested. Shut your mouth and comply, that's the message. Want you depressed on prescriptions that mess with your head, got you stressing, suppressing expression.
We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
Keep the money, I would rather have my soul. They want power and control, that's their number one goal. All my friends turn to foes, look how easily they fold. Even Nazis say they were doing what they told. Walking down this road all alone in the cold, but my soul never sold. I'm exposing the clones, God has chosen this role. All of those who oppose want me hopeless and broke, like I'm Noah on boats. I'm just trying to tell them all about the flood. I can feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my blood. Man, I came up out the mud, only God is my judge. I don't listen to these politicians, they the real thugs. Won't comply with the lies, they disguise it as science. They want you compliant, the media's bias. These corporate giants are capitalizing on us by dividing, but I'll keep on fighting.
We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. They're trying to dumb us down. Don't want us to make a sound. We gotta get out of now, 'cause it's a revolution.
I want to express one more thing. I think I was 50. Only 1/20th of the way done. Okay, first off, my two 10-pound swords are easier. They're only a fourth as long, about a third as long as this sword. So even though this sword is 2.5 pounds lighter than them combined, I gassed out at 50. Gotta take this little break. After 100, I wasn't even gassed at all on a two 10-pound gladius. It was pretty awesome. Whether or not it was intentional on one of the places I was in, when I was on all those drugs that I did research kind of put you into a theta wave. They played movies for us like Undisputed 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are prison fights to the death. They also played videos for us like Resident Evil, lots of secret agent movies with Tom Cruise. It almost seemed like they were grooming us for something. So you could consider that MK Ultra, or maybe they just brought in videos that they liked because, you know, we did like the action videos. We thought they were great. Young boys, I guess they like action videos. So it's hard to say, you know, I can't prove that I was being groomed, but that's how fucking retarded those institutions are. They just hire young schmucks off the street while we're heavily drugged and medicated, which puts you in a more of a susceptible state, because some of these do kind of, it's like smoking weed or doing these other drugs. Well, a lot of these pharmaceutical drugs can kind of put you into a trance-like state, makes you more obedient. Anyhow, gotta get some water, that H2O, that creatine. At the end of the day, you know, sometimes people just make mistakes. Maybe these places were just extremely unorganized. Maybe they could only afford to hire, you know, just college kids. Who knows if those college kids were in the families of the people that own the place, and there was some conspiracy to recruit us into the military. But Ashton Kutcher, I do believe he was from Iowa, did prove that 70% of people that have sometime been in jail, prison, were victims of the foster care CPS system. I don't believe that CPS is utterly evil. I think when money gets involved with things in order to keep, it's like a business. If I start a business and I'm not getting any clients, how the heck am I supposed to stay open? And so I feel like they probably have to meet a quota, but that's just absolutely utterly wrong. That you would find reasons to take kids away from their parents, never let them be seen. I believe that they manslaughtered her, or woman slaughtered her, because that's sexist, you know. All they say is manslaughter, but it's like involuntary woman slaughter for my mother, because I got a letter in the mail when I was in one of those very abusive institutions where I was being butt fucked, you know, by staff and kids. It was pretty fucked up, you know, that I just got this letter in the mail that supposedly this woman was my mom and she's dead at age 40. Well, all I could imagine is that's involuntary manslaughter, because if you're taking a child away from a single woman, how in the hell? It was pharmaceutical drugs that ruined her life, because they said the reason that I got taken away from her was because she wasn't taking her pills. Why the fuck would she be on those pills if she didn't get in trouble for fucking around with marijuana, which is legal now, you know? If they would have let her just smoke her fucking pot, which is now legal, I don't even think that you should fucking do that, because if you're doing any type of pharmaceutical drugs, any type of pot, there's no reason for it. Is because, you know, they make a lot of fucking money on that shit, and if 1 out of every 4 people in America wasn't on some fucking kind of drug, I think they'd be a little bit pissed off right now. The Christians probably have it right. You know, they say that this is the world. I don't agree with all this stuff that the Christians say, because they just seem kind of disconnected from reality. People are just not coming through the heart space. Anyway, oh yeah, and I'm not joining the Amish for any religious ceremonies, but I think that the cool thing about joining the Amish is I can be out there, I get to throw away my cell phone, I'll have community, everybody's like super nice in the Amish community. I get really good food cooked for me. They play board games every night at the table. If the robot invasion does happen in the next 10 years, they can already live without electronics, so if EMPs get hit or whatever. I heard this thing that our electrical grid isn't even set up to stand up against EMPs or whatever. I kind of highly doubt they would do that. I feel like they want it to be an electrical grid. Anyway, this is the stuff that I might be getting killed for, because I shared it on Facebook and TikTok. So I'm gonna shut my fucking mouth, because I actually want this video to do okay. And let's get on with the show.
Please welcome our good friend, Senator Nancy Schaefer.
Thank you, dear Phyllis, and thank you to all of you. I have served in the Georgia State Senate for 4 years. However, for 4 years, I have been confronted with families struggling to remove their children from the clutches of Child Protective Services. I wrote a scathing report last year on the corruption in Child Protective Services, and an update, copies are out on the table. The Department of Child Protective Services has become a protected empire, built on taking children and separating families. This is not to say that there are not those children who do need to be removed from wretched situations and need protection. However, my report is concerned with the children and parents caught up in legal kidnapping. Having worked with probably 300 cases statewide and hundreds across the country, and in nearly every state, I am convinced there is no accountability in Child Protective Services. The Adoption and the Safe Families Act, set in motion first in 1974 by Walter Mondale and later in 1997 by President Bill Clinton, offered cash bonuses to the states for every child they adopted out of foster care. Some counties often offer $4,000 to $6,000 bonus for each child adopted out to strangers, and an additional $2,000 for a special needs child. Employees work to keep the federal dollars flowing. The National Center on Child Abuse and Neglect in 1998 reported that 6 times more children died in foster care than in the general public, and that once removed to official safety, These children are far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation, than in the general population. Think what that number is today, 10 years later. Child Protective Services seizes children using the very system that is paid for by the taxpayer, who actually believes it is used to protect abused and neglected children. The bureaucracy of workers benefit financially by a system that converts children into cash while destroying their families and their lives.
And it's all driven by money. All of the taking of the children that is going on right now.
Is Child Protective Services just an official government kidnapping ring?
Basically, yes.
It's a privilege for me to join you tonight and to be with you in some pro-family policy here. I will share with you on the unlimited power of Child Protective Services. I served in the Georgia State Senate, and after 4 years of viewing the ruthless and unsparing actions of Child Protective Services, also called CPS, which I will use tonight, I wrote a scathing report entitled "The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services." Thank you. The report cost me my Senate seat. However, there are causes worth losing over, and this is one. I'm going to talk about some of the problems and then some realistic solutions for families and children, and maybe look to some steps that we can take. This is not to say that there are not those children in wretched situations who need to be removed. There are, and we all agree. But tonight, I'm talking about those children removed from their homes intentionally for profit. Children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid created in 1974 entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act. It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers. To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell. Funding is available when a child is placed in a foster home with strangers or placed in a mental health facility and medicated, usually against the parents' wishes. Parents are victimized by the system that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonuses for not returning children to their parents. This is abuse of power. It is lack of accountability. And it is a growing criminal political phenomenon spreading around the globe. Oftentimes, but not always, poor parents are targeted to lose their children.
We got 110 in, only 890 more. Let's do it. In gang stalking, online and offline, in death threats to victims of legalized and regular child trafficking that's illegal, not done through the state. 1,000 strikes for my life, 1,000 strikes for forgiveness. There's enough people out on the internet talking about all these corruptions. We're gonna get this in. Let's get it in.
Because they do not have the wherewithal to hire an attorney or fight the system. Being poor and lacking proper housing does not mean your children should be removed. CPS has redefined poor to mean psychologically inferior. Therefore, it is in the best interest of the child to be removed. Best interest, of course, has also been redefined at the child's expense. It has been reported over and over that 6 times as many children die in foster care than in the general public. once a child is legally kidnapped and placed in official safety, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation and/or rape. Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence, and they seek wrongly to terminate parental rights while being protected by state immunity. There is a huge bureaucracy made up of judges, court-appointed attorneys, guardian ad litems, social workers, state employees, court investigators, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, foster parents, adoptive parents, and on, who are looking to the children in state care for their job security. Judges have control over private living arrangements and income of 48.3 million Americans. The United States Census Bureau reported in 2002 that $40 billion in transfer payments were made between households of custody parents and other parents. That money, $40 billion, is under the direction and control of family court judges in environments covered with confidentiality laws that protect the wrong people. Fathers are victims of this unjust system. Child support payments, even without having visits with their children, are choking the very life out of fathers. 3 fathers, of whom I am aware and have been in touch with, committed suicide in the last 12 months because they lost the opportunity to even visit with their children.
Greetings, citizens of the world. We are Anonymous. On March 26, 2010, the United States and the world lost a brave warrior who fought for the rights of parents, children, and families everywhere. This warrior was the late Georgia Senator Nancy Schaefer, who was murdered along with her husband. Their deaths were ruled a murder-suicide, as were so many others that stand against corruption in high places. Nancy had received death threats prior to the murder for her relentless investigation into the child welfare system of the United States. She exposed this broken system for what it is, and she authored an official government report called The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services, which she claimed that the report cost her seat on the Georgia Senate.
Okay, so I just realized something. It's much more logical. If you were to hit that steel beam, it makes it much more difficult than doing the swinging just in the plein air. I'd say it's almost 3 to 4 times harder to do it that way. I started to get round in a circle up at the top fairly easily because I was pushing up the soft part of the pell, which is a towel wrapped in duct tape and a pool noodle. So I realized if I had one of those, they have these little boxing targets that you can box and it bobs and weaves. If I had one of those, it'd be 4 to 5 times easier to do this workout. I was wondering why I was getting so tired after 40 strikes. So if anybody were to take this into LARPing, if you'd be hitting solid armor with this, that's more about what it would be like hitting that solid steel conduit pipe. So I would have a long way to go to actually be able to LARP with this with fast efficiency. Also because, you know, I'd have to wear the 60-pound weighted vest, 2 10-pound ankle weights, and the 2.5-pound wrist weights. That would be more or less what the armor weight of a LARPer would be, minus dragging behind the 100-pound sled, which is one of our Guinness World Records. It'd be really interesting to build a pell that has a spring on it that kind of bobs around slowly, because then I'd have to take aim more, and that would be more or less like hitting an opponent's sword, because if you have a heavier sword, their sword would just kind of fall right away by the sheer weight of the big sword. Do another 40, and we'll be at 200, and then after that, we'll keep on going. The pool noodle design is really not a good design, just for the fact that when you're hitting it with something very, very tough, it squishes the pool noodle and just kind of flays it. I did 1,000 strikes 2 days ago with the 2 10-pound gladiuses to combat illegal child trafficking. Definitely gonna have to think of like more of like a Kevlar cloth kind of design. That could actually be used, that Kevlar cloth could be used for actual sharp swords as well. I stand to say that this is 4 to 5 times harder than just swinging it openly in the air, because you're not coming across a direct wall of conduit pipe to stop you. It's something. So, all right, let's get back to the show.
In this report, she outlined several cases of abuse, corruption, and pedophilia in the majority of the foster care system that was allowed to continue. Not only was she uncovering horrible examples of negligence on behalf of the system, she also found direct links to high-level pedophilia rings in Georgia.
Okay, I just went for it there, and I went as fast as I could while hitting that, and I really had to work on controlling the breath and the prana and the chi. Pretty gassed out after just going super fast on 10 straight strikes. So I guess it is possible to go at lightning speed, but you do get worn out more than if you were to do the 50 slower. Whether this is actually going to be used for you guys that are doing HEMA, or you're just kind of doing it for a workout, I think it's completely up to you on what you guys would like to do. Guys and gals, of course.
Which she continued investigating after losing her seat in the Senate. She discovered that this ring was trafficking children to other states and even other countries. Nancy had just finished a video documentary that would expose a list of high-level government officials involved in a large child trafficking and pedophile operation. This was the reason that she was murdered. The video documentary that Nancy Schaefer was working on before her death was going to expose this government corruption. The documentary was finished and ready to be released, according to William Wilkie Fain. William Fain was on the Alex Jones Show on April 1st, 2010. On that show he said that the documentary was ready to be released within 3 to 4 weeks.
When is this video going to be released? And where is it going to be released? YouTube?
No, we're not going to go YouTube. We're going to go straight to TV with it.
Pull off another 20 pretty fast. It might be that my creatine workout is kicking in. There's some stuff in there that's supposed to help give me an extra abundant amount of energy. Not exactly sure what it is, but it's not caffeine. Some type of carbohydrate. Lost a little skin off the hands, but I can't feel it anymore. Let's get it.
We're getting offers from across the country, and we're just kind of sitting on it right now as far as the offers. It's in the editing and post-production right now. I'm predicting that it'll take us 3 to 4 weeks to finish it, put the music to it, get all the documents that we need to back it up.
William Fain knew how important this video documentary was to Nancy Schaefer, not to mention all the children that it would have saved. If it was released, this lost video documentary would have destroyed Deville.
Not too bad. Got a little there off the knuckle. Oh, we hit 200. We're 1/5 of the way done.
And saved so many families. William Fain even provides some details of the content included in the video documentary. This shows how powerful this video will be.
So we've got to put a stop to this, and I believe that this film and documentary is going to expose the horrors of this, and I plan on going nationwide with it.
What's the name of the film?
I haven't named it yet. I think what we're going to name it is, me and Nancy talked about it, was In the Best Interest, exposing the horrors of DFACS in Georgia.
And again, DFACS stands for?
Department of Family and Children's Services. Well, we've got one child that was raped. I think it's one of the worst rapes I've ever seen. 2 years, 8 months old. But DFACS didn't seize this child because they knocked on the door. It was of a rich doctor, so they believed the lady that answered the door and said, "Oh, he's not here," and yet her son was raping the child in a back room. We have the evidence. The child's dead. We have all the paperwork. One of the worst stories I've ever seen in my life. You're going to hear a story about a father who was really not even the dad of the child, but he signed the birth certificate. The mother gets caught on drugs. They came and seized the child from a father who has a good job, who offered to take care of it, put it in foster care, and by the time the child was 4, was raped 3 times by foster care parents. So they're taking our children out of a good situation sometimes and put them with these foster care. We had 2 return the other day. Hadn't seen the mother in 30 days. When they left, they were making good grades in school, clean and healthy. They returned with lice, worms.
The video production that Nancy Schaefer paid William Fain to produce was never released. William Fain never talks about it anywhere, and there is no sign of it on his portfolio. So, what happened to Nancy Schaefer's documentary? This video documentary is damning by itself. The real documentary footage would be the scandal of the century if ever uncovered.
Yeehaw! Starting to figure out technique. Hey, for everybody watching this, thank you so much for subscribing to this channel, caring enough about me to hit that bell notification, see if I survive, see if I don't get murdered. It's very real what's happening with these kids. There's a lot of groups on Facebook you guys can join against child trafficking. There's even groups against trafficking through CPS. That one's a little bit more controversial because it makes the government look really, really, really bad and corrupt. And if people lose faith in their government, well, we just send in chaos. So it's pretty sad when governments do things like this because they just ruin it for civilization. Let's get it in.
This would show the truth with evidence of why she was murdered. These are our children, and the very future of humanity. If we do not stand for them, we stand for nothing. We will never forget you, Nancy Schaefer. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. And we do not forget. CPS, expect us.
Nancy Schaefer was the reason Nancy Schaefer was killed was she had decided to totally demolish the Child Protective Services in Georgia because she found out they were filled full of pedophiles.
And got in touch with Nancy Schaefer, Senator Nancy Schaefer, and started to get involved with her. And Nancy helped her out in her case, and then they became very close, and Sheridan started working with her. And actually, 5 days before Nancy Schaefer was found murdered, they had just finished a documentary, and the documentary was all about CPS and the theft of children, sex rings, where they sold children into prostitution. They actually shipped children out of country to other lands, other nations, and sell these children to people. They actually sell children to pedophiles in other countries. This is a real problem in our country.
This is Sparta! Gotta save the kids from their deathbed, even if they kill us.
So we need to save the kids from their deathbed, even if they murder us. Hopefully this is my last video ever having to talk about it, but when they're threatening to blow up my car, I'm getting multiple death threats. If I don't even know if I'm gonna live or die, yeah, what do you do? Forced into a position to do something. Because life, you realize you're dead and you look back and you're like, wow, I could have done something for those kids. They already said they were gonna murder me. They already said they were gonna blow up my car. Fuck. They left me no fucking choice but to tell the world, to tell the whole fucking world what the fuck happened. Perhaps this is the power of the dark side, channeled for good. Supposedly Mace Windu did that, channeling both sides. Doesn't this kind of look like the Mandalorian blade?
Too many women.
Tens of thousands on my right, thousands by my side. War between good and evil, watching our fists collide. Battle for our freedom now, to the streets we ride. Flags waving all around, pages full of pride. This is where we make a stand, no more give or take.
It's fun. I don't know if I'll ever really be able to do that at 45 pounds, but we'll see. Let's do another 50 and get to 300.
March around the Capitol, storm the city gates, putting pressure on their necks until the truth breaks. All walls of corruption, take out all the snakes. Star Spangled Banner, got it playing loud and proud. People from all walks of life filling up the crowd. Defend the Constitution, many warriors have vowed. Casting down any among us who have bucked and cowed. Enough with tyranny, we come to take our country back. For all citizens, white, red, brown, or black. Return her to a form of glory, fix the bloody crack on the crown. Fetch it down, it's going down.
My mama told me, yeah, she warned me that this day would come. I'm like my father, go to combat with the blazing guns. I survived that, then I came back to the place I'm from, to face off all these haters and the battle in the place I love. You can't break me down, I'm indivisible. You still see my raps if I was invisible. But I'm standing tall, and I spit the truth. So you all appalled, cause you know it's true. They call it freedom cause the fallen troops pay for this. I love this country, doesn't matter how much hate I get. I take my colors in the battle, ain't no wavering. Cause this is for my warriors who marching to the cadences. This is for the sisters working hard on the ship. This is for the brothers getting y'all doctorate. Father, yeah, taking y'all on the ship. Baby, tell me why it's off of the Patriot.
Top story now. Happening today, 200 parents plan to gather with matching shirts, banners, and signs. Now, they are supporting a federal lawsuit which challenges Minnesota's child protection laws. In fact, a judge will start hearing the case in just a few hours. Kaya Edwards is live outside the courthouse in St. Paul. Good morning, Kaya.
Good morning, Lauren. The association that's suing is made up of almost 5,000 parents, but as mentioned, a smaller group of, or 200 of them, will be meeting right here at 8 o'clock this morning, and after that, oral arguments will begin. So here are some of the key points that we can expect to hear.
Madeline James, mother of 3.
Tony is 7.
But for about a week, she was more like mother of none.
They wouldn't tell me where my children were. They did not allow me to see my children. To me, that is kidnapping.
An argument between family members, not her, prompted police to pull her kids from school.
There was never no harm towards my children at all.
But she got it and won.
I think that makes 300. I'm gonna try to do this with no rest. We're at 300, we're gonna do 50, and another 50. We're gonna go all based on technique, see if I won't gas out. I'm pretty exhausted, so we're gonna have to just go through raw willpower and drive.
They were just wrong, and my case was dismissed.
Now she and thousands more parents are hoping to win another case, a federal lawsuit against agencies enforcing Minnesota's child protection laws.
Minnesota is removing children unnecessarily from the home when there's no harm to the children. On the petition, it said her house was messy. And I was like, you know, you're taking a child because the house is messy?
In court today, attorneys will argue that laws involving the foster care system are unconstitutional.
And that's when, and that's when, and that's when the world went to waste. Yeah. The world went to waste. The world went to waste. Yeah. The world went to waste. How the fuck would you like our country to run? Anything goes, so I guess it's comfortably numb. Raising little boys nowadays, no balls. Parents too afraid, so they won't get involved. God forbid you discipline your kid, call the law. They gon' lock you up, have you looking at the wall. Fuck them all, they can suck on my balls. Who you gonna call when shit goes wrong? This arm or
How's it going, guys? What I wanted to do in this video is actually take a few minutes to talk with you all about something that has dominated the news this year, and that is, of course, police. And I would like to take a few minutes to talk about policing in general and try to get us to take a step back and try to bring the two sides together. There seems to be this great division among a lot of people, either those that overwhelmingly support the police compared to those who want to defund the police, who are very anti-police. And where the truth is somewhere in the middle. In general, I am someone who strongly supports constitutional police. Now, that is a very key statement. And, you know, the Constitution is the supreme law of our land. And that supreme law of our land is what all public officials are to follow. Any law that is contrary to the Constitution is null and void. It's according to the Supreme Court. I know there's been a lot of cases on that in the past. And I really think that we're getting away too far from our founding documents, the Constitution in general. As I mentioned earlier, I am someone that in general supports law enforcement. I have friends that are police officers. You know, some of them have been right here to my house. One of them recently gave me this during a recent visit that he did. And, you know, I think that we need to take a minute to take a step back and actually look at policing in general. The police are needed. I mean, somebody has got to go out there and confront the bad guys. Who are you going to call if your property gets stolen? Okay, if someone is doing something that they should not do that endangers the lives of others, you know, and yes, there's things that can be said as far as what we can do, but in general, at some point, law enforcement has got to get involved in certain situations. Okay, there's got to be those on the front line who are willing to run into the fray and do what they can to stop the nonsense and enforce the laws. Unfortunately, what is happening these days is that the police are, in some instances, clearly forgetting their oath of office and not following the Constitution. And we really need to break this down into different areas of the country. I guess you could say that some areas of the country it seems to be a bigger problem than it is in other areas. Now, for those of you all who are in more rural areas like mine, you may actually know a lot of the police officers in your area. I certainly know the ones around here, a lot of them, and in general, I don't have any issues with them. Have there been bad cops here? Yes, there have been. Again, some of my friends in law enforcement will tell you there are bad cops on the force. It's just an unfortunate reality about the world that we live in. Where it gets dangerous is when you have a very large number of them, especially those that just do not care about what they're doing. They don't care about any kind of what their oath was to protect the constitutional rights. And they just go about blindly follow the orders of bureaucrats without hesitation. And we're actually going to look at a couple of articles to kind of talk about that. Here's one of the articles that I want to look at. Is undercover cops order food and then arrest a bar owner for defying NYC's dining rules. This is an example of what I would say would be a bad cop. Under the Constitution, a lot of these orders, these edicts that these governors are passing or enacting, they are clearly unconstitutional. And this is a perfect example of how extreme this can be. And what has happened here is basically the police officers dressed up in just regular everyday clothes went in to this bar, ordered food, and then arrested the individual for violating Cuomo's orders. These police officers took an oath to protect the Constitution, and instead of protecting the Constitution, they just basically violated it. They threw it in the trash completely. Okay? We always hear about the strict gun laws in a lot of these cities. New York, New Jersey, California, places like that. And who is it that enforces those gun laws? Knowingly violating your Second Amendment rights, arresting you in many cases simply for the possession of a firearm, unless you go through a lot of the hoops that these governments have set up, and that is a lot of the police officers in this area. And unfortunately, you can see here this photo. This is another thing here. This is the article here. This is police standing in front of the bar, making sure that no one can enter that bar. A man is blocked from being able to run a small business, while your major corporations, your Walmarts, your Home Depots, your Krogers, your big corporations, your big businesses, they're allowed to do business, but your small mom and pop shops, privately owned small businesses, are not allowed to do so. And these guys here are blocking it. They are violating a person's constitutional rights to run their business, and they are keeping it closed. This is a law that is not enacted by a legislature. This is just the edict of a governor. And that, my friends, is unacceptable. This is what I mean when I'm talking about we need to differentiate between constitutional law enforcement and that which is clearly unconstitutional. Oath breakers and oath keepers, as I've heard it phrased before. The ones that are oath keepers really need our support. They need our backing. And I will overwhelmingly, unquestionably back a police officer who holds to his oath of office. Okay? But someone who clearly violates their oath of office, I cannot support them. I will not support them. This country was founded on the idea of freedom. Our Constitution puts restrictions on what government is able to do.
So we got 467. Broke another stake. This one snapped in the ground again. Check this out. So normally the stake's that long, but it snapped. It seems to snap where there's a little hole. So if I could find stakes without holes, maybe it won't snap. Well, today we shot for 1,000 strikes, but I'm out of stakes because of the time frame and the amount of time that I actually have. I don't think I have enough time today to run to the store because I got to be getting back to work here. We shot for it. We shot for 1,000 strikes. We definitely would have done it. We've done it many, many times here on this channel. We've never done it on the Pell. The Pell is definitely a lot harder. Whatever it came out to be on there. That's how many strikes we got. And we'll come back again probably when I'm super strong, and we'll do that challenge again, and I'll make sure that I actually have stakes. I did not think that I'd snap another stake, but there is a flaw in that particular stake. It's got those little holes in it where you can tie string, because those are concrete stakes. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for subscribing to Spiritual Fitness Evolution. To anybody out there that is paying people to come threaten and kill me, please have some mercy on my soul. I mean, for heaven's sake, I got butt fucked by juvenile delinquents and male staff, and beaten, thrown downstairs, drugged on over 20 pharmaceutical drugs. I think I've had enough hell in my life, okay? So I'm gonna send peace and love out to you guys regardless. And the dude that threatened to blow up my vehicle, yeah, peace and love to you, dude, because seriously, man, I'm gonna have to go around with like a hidden camera everywhere that I go. Anyway, Spiritual Fitness Evolution, we're out of here, and stay tuned. We'll be coming back. We'll be doing that 1,000 strike challenge. I want to put this all behind me, all of this chaos and the stuff that's been happening, and I hope you guys go after some higher target individuals There's so many people out there. I mean, you already killed that judge. What was her name? Nancy Schaefer. You already murdered her ass. So I guess you guys really don't like people talking about the child trafficking. But you can't kill every motherfucking kid that you child trafficked and threaten to kill their ass. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. So I'm willing to put it all behind me and stop talking about it if you guys stop threatening to kill my ass, because I would like to live. And I'd like to just do my little thing here in America, and not sarcastic at all. I'm totally fucking honest that I'm wishing the best for everybody. Leave me alone. Thank you very much. Come out into nature. I mean, geez, how much money do you have to fucking make? Life isn't that. That's all you really need. All right, everybody. Light and love. You guys are gonna have the best year of your life. Whoever's watching this, you're grounded. You're feeling absolute bliss, ecstasy, joy. Call that into your life. It's your birthright. And create a big, large community. Any victims out there that end up seeing this, people that were child trafficked, take this as, don't let this shit get to you, you know? I mean, if you are gonna end up getting killed, enjoy every minute of your life and don't live in fear. All right, everybody, peace out. Till next time, Spiritual Fitness Evolution. Whew. Put good out, receive good back.
And when a police officer follows the order of an individual that is clearly in violation of that Constitution, then that police officer is just as guilty. Unfortunately, that is, that's something that happens these days. And I really think that is where there are serious areas of reform needed. I really think that is where accountability is needed. There are areas that are questionable, but then there are areas that are not questionable. When a police officer blocks someone from being able to open their business simply because of a governor or a mayor's order, when that individual has not broken any laws or anything like that, that is clearly a violation of that individual's constitutional rights. When a police officer goes and seizes property from someone who has not been charged with a crime, who has not been convicted of a crime, but simply, again, following an unconstitutional order, again, that is someone who is as guilty as the person that made that unconstitutional order. Guys, I think that there's a area of common ground. Okay, if a law enforcement community, a department, for example, overwhelmingly violates the rights of people, these people that are out there that are calling for defunding the police, when it comes to police officers who do those things, who violate the Constitution, who use the Constitution like it's toilet paper, I'm with them. Defund those cops. They don't need to be cops. They need to have their badges stripped, and they need to be prosecuted for violating people's constitutional rights. That's where I am on that. But when it comes to law enforcement that follows the Constitution, that does their job, that puts their lives on the line every day, those are the ones that I support, and those are the ones that all of us need to support. But guys, this is just a quick video that I wanted to do. Again, this is something that I know we can find common ground on. Just taking a minute, stepping back, and trying to look at both sides of the issue. The bad cops need to be gotten out. To the folks in law enforcement, you know who those people are in your ranks. You need to get them out because they're hurting you. What happens when the rest of us turn against you? I don't really foresee that happening in a lot of areas. There are, again, small towns, things like that, very tight-knit communities. But you get into a lot of these areas where there are larger departments and things like that. Guys, it becomes very difficult to justify supporting some of these bad departments when no one is standing up for the citizens of those areas. Okay? Again, guys, there's middle ground. Support those who follow the Constitution. Those that do not, get them off the force. But guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Any of you guys that are in law enforcement, I would really like to hear from you. You are the guys that are on the front lines. You're the guys that are out there every day. I'm sure that you know there's someone in your department that does not do their job the way they should, that abuses people, that basically has no thought for anybody but themselves. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. Leave me a comment down below. Guys, thanks for watching. Check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Be sure to share the video, and we'll see you next time.
Child Protective Services that I mentioned a little while ago. In Orange County last year, they had a bust for these traffickers. They got 105 people, victims of trafficking, human trafficking. 65% of those victims were wards of Child Protective Services. Not only were they wards of Child Protective Services, but check this out. They were never reported missing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So maybe they were literally sold by
Well,
people within Child Protective Services.
Well, what we're finding now is this trafficking is a lot bigger and a lot more involved politically than we care to look at or the media won't cover. Everybody's afraid because there's some real big heavy hitters that are very influential that are involved.
And the acquisition of the children was for sexual purposes?
Absolutely. Children are sold, and there have been cases, children are sold up to 75 times in one day. One day, 75 different Johns abuse this child.
Right.
It's making the child trafficking industry, or human trafficking, I should say, industry right now makes more money than the illegal drug trade and illegal arms trade combined.
Wow.
Combined. So children are definitely a commodity. They're a commodity to make money. Last year I had a case where a lovely young girl was single mom. Mom's a great Italian woman, lives in Burbank. And she was having some problems with her daughter. Her daughter started hanging out with the wrong, crowd. Good girl, though. Just, needed to be pulled back in. Yeah.
She'll end up robbing from Paris Hilton's house, like the bling ring was.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So, Mom calls a friend at the police department. She says, I'd like to put a little scare. I want to do something. I want to make sure she's okay. And, he says, call Child Protective Services. She said, okay, I'll try it. She called Child Protective Services. They said, we need to take her and, help out here. They put this child, gorgeous, I mean, she looks like a model, 16 years old, 15 at the time, in this group home. The mom goes to visit her. It was near the holidays. Goes to visit her. She feels like, all right, she's going to learn her lesson. She'll never mess up again. This is a hardcore lesson. Her daughter's gone. Her daughter and 3 other beautiful young girls. Now, you have to bear in mind, Sean, that the gates around this group home, locally, are high. They're too high, and they are locked, and they're electronic. You are not getting out.
Yeah.
And there's a full staff. Well, the staff says, gee, we were short-staffed, and we just don't know how this gate got open. This mother daily for over 1 year posted, she came on my show. She did not stop looking for her daughter. Her daughter is home. She found her through the efforts of a combined community effort. And she is still healing. She was passed on to more people. She was so abused. She was locked up. She was a prisoner.
And it was basically sold to a sex.
Her and 3 others from a state-run group home. And how did the gates get open? Well, it was near the holidays, and they just don't have an answer. Senator Bell up in Northern California, he's a big advocate on, the foster care system. And He's been pushing for these foster children to have a little more protection, okay? A colleague of mine that runs an organization called the Humanitarian Alliance, what she found out is 48 hours after a child is aged out, meaning they're 18 and they leave their foster homes, within 48 hours, 60 to 75% of them are captured. How can that be? 48 hours. Definitely there's an insider.
Captured in the sense of?
Child trafficking.
Trafficking.
Not child anymore.
Right.
Human trafficking.
It's the flyover states and all different races. We're small timers with big dreams. Oh, fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers, first responders hit the same. It's the red and blue lights, crazy Friday nights, a kiss before leaving again. Where the hope begins, the line is so thin. We're playing this game to win. To serve and protect, it's cause and effect. The brave uniform of truth. Cause they're me and they're you, honest and true. This credit's been long overdue. I'm back in the blue. Back to blue. Back to blue. On foot or four wheels, they answer the call for us all. Keeping evil in check, you got my respect. Upholding the